music? Or?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Number one.
Good choice. Awesome. So how many people here know what covet fashion is? All right, cool, awesome. One, and we were like laying bets. We were like, oh, men will not know. We're gonna have to like talk about it. So do you want to just tell us what covet fashion really is and what you guys do?
Yes. So covet fashion is a mobile styling game. So it's a fashion-based game that is available on your iPhone, iPad, Android device. And what we do is we take the lookbooks and line sheets of over 160 contemporary to high contemporary brands and put that merchandise at the fingertips of our users, who are then able to style virtual mannequins to create complete head-to-toe looks and compete in daily style challenges. So every day we run 6 different style challenges. Think of it like who wore it best, and it could be something like if you're giving a talk at a conference or Friday date night or whatever it might be. And all of our users, which we have 600,000 daily active users, put together looks for that style competition and enter it, and then everyone votes, and our users are the ones who decide what makes a good look. And so it's a great way for our consumers to interact with real merchandise. All of the merchandise is available in store to purchase, and for brands, it's a great way to work with a platform that's providing an interactive experience and engaging with users. And our company has been in the gaming space for 7 years, so we know how to engage users. We know how to bring them back. Our users, on average, spend 60 minutes in the app every day. So it's a huge amount of time spent for our brands to be engaging with our consumers.
Cool. So what kinds of brands? Tell me a few of the brands that are on the platform, and just kind of, is it a paid app? Do people have to pay to be on it? Okay.
So of the brands we have on board, contemporary to high contemporary brands, so brands you would see at Bloomingdale's, Saks, Nordstrom, so J Brand, Joie, Rebecca Minkoff, Nicole Miller, French Connection, BCBG, the list goes on. And then we also have a lot of really small independent designers as well that are really fun to work with, who have unique stories and unique product. And because it's a really equal playing field once you're on the platform, small brands are able to shine just as much as big brands. And our users really love learning about some of these smaller brands.
And do they pay to play? Do the brands pay to play?
The brands do not. So we don't charge the brands anything to participate. So we take their lookbooks and line sheets. We have artists that create digital renderings of them, and then the brand has full approval before the items go live. Cool. And then we actually don't even charge right now an affiliate fee on the sales that we drive. So our business model is we're a freemium game, which means it's free to download for our users, and about 95% of our users will never pay us anything. But a small percentage of our users will pay us money, and they spend about $10 to $20 a day in the app. So I equate it to a movie ticket and entertainment. So we're providing about an hour of entertainment every day to the average consumer. Obviously, our more engaged users spend a lot more time than that. You spend about $15 to go to the movies these days, so it's about equal to that.
Sure. So kind of from the retailer perspective, kind of you've worked with all these small and mid-sized and large retailers. What have you found about sort of how they're approaching you guys as a platform? What are they worried about? Sort of, what are the things that they say when you go up to them and say, "Hey, do you want to come? You want to come peer on my game?"
Yes, exactly. So it was a very, and it still is, challenging platform to introduce brands to, especially fashion brands who are very particular about their designs. When you approach them and tell them that you're a mobile game, they immediately think it's for nerdy guys in their basement who have Cheetos and Coca-Cola, and that's it. So telling them that they're actually going to reach a fashionable audience that has an average age of 29, has a higher household income than Pinterest and Instagram, it's not easy for them to absorb. So it takes a lot of tweaking of the messaging to understand who you're talking to, how you convince them that users actually spend more time gaming than social media, and that our consumers actually say that we're more influential than friends and family and social media combined. So it's a lot of education, and so it depends on the brand, whether it's a lot of sort of impersonal events that we having coffee and things like that, or some people do get it right away.
Is gaming like the hard part of it, or is it, because I mean the demographics thing is a very interesting one, because I mean you're right, most games don't appeal to women my age, basically. But is it the gaming part that's hard for them, because brands are in general a little bit shy of the whole gaming thing? I mean, it's much easier to sell someone maybe on Pinterest than it is to talk about games, because people don't want to gamify this thing that they've worked hard to build.
Right, exactly. The gaming part is hard because of the stereotypes around it, but then also they're very nervous about how their designs are going to be displayed, how their brand is portrayed, how much control they will have. And so that's a key thing as well of showing them our product. And the two key things that we did with this product were really making the product aesthetically very appealing to our brand. So we knew that it couldn't be cartoony. It had to be at the level of what you see on Nordstrom's or Net-a-Porter or something like that. So it had to be aspirational for not only our consumers, but also for our brands. Brands also move together. So it was key that we got a couple of really good, strong brands first. And we worked with Rachel Zoe for the first 6 months as well, who's like the #1 stylist within fashion. And so that brought a lot of legitimacy to our product as well, to help people to get on board.
So in terms of kind of talking about gaming in general, again, it's like did Kim Kardashian Hollywood help? By the way, I got to A-list status on that thing. I was so proud of myself. And I had to delete the app because my editor told me to. But did that help?
Yes.
I mean,
Kim Kardashian's game has been a huge success for us as well. Because it's brought gaming to be more acceptable for a female audience. And it's brought the idea of gaming to women and to our brands. And I mean, honestly, we did a lot of marketing on Kim Kardashian's game to bring users over to our app.
Cool.
So it worked well. And also, I mean, just in general, the iPhone is a great device for women. If you think about gaming before, it was consoles and devices that were not attractive to a female. Whereas now with an iPhone, it's for a lot of people already sort of an accessory that they want to have, and so it's a more acceptable platform for them to be gaming on.
What about sort of on the tech side? I know Lisa was just asking about sort of attribution and so there's a path to purchase from your game. Can you just talk about sort of the challenges that a lot of these retailers are talking about, which is really not making sure, knowing where that sale comes from is actually pushing people, that friction between that inspiration, which is what your game provides, to getting them to actually spend some money.
Right. So I would say our two challenges around that are, one, mobile. A lot of people aren't comfortable purchasing on mobile. Conversion rates are lower. So that's a huge issue for us. And two is also the brand's direct e-commerce site versus going to a retailer. So there's a trust factor of, I don't know who Gemma Redux is. I don't know if I trust their site. Am I going to go directly there, or should I just go find that Gemma Redux is sold on Nordstrom's and I feel much more comfortable? I know what their return policies are, their shipping costs, all of that. So what we've done is we've worked with our brands to solve the issue of mobile versus non-mobile, and the feeling that a lot of our users were learning about these brands but then going to their desktop or laptop to make a purchase, is we had our brands set up codes, so just promo codes that are then, and they can apply a discount to it if they want, they don't have to, but that just allows for tracking so that users then go and shop on FrenchConnection.com, enter in the covet code. French Connection now knows that came from us. We also then actually reward our users with in-game currency, so the currency that we usually charge for. So it's an incentive for our users actually to go through that process of entering the code. And that has worked really well for us. For example, with French Connection, they actually did an exclusive dress with us that was only available to Covet users. And the day it launched, we drove 37% of all of their e-commerce. And it was the top-selling item until it sold out for 2 weeks for them. So it has worked well in terms of getting that tracking down, but it is something we're looking into.
Yeah, I find it interesting what you said too about sort of that trust factor, and I think it's obviously something smaller retailers, especially apparel and shoes retailers, would worry about a little bit more because, right, you have the Nordstroms and the Saks of the world, and then you have your own site. Just kind of talking to these small retailers, I mean, what can they do? Like, what have you found that they've been doing that works, and what can they be doing more of because you're talking to their demographic as well, when it comes to this, like, staying on the cutting edge?
Right. I mean, I think one thing is just the trust of their site, of how it looks, how it functions. There's just simple things that you can do, having it, work well on a mobile phone. Those are, simple things that they can do. In terms of other trust, it's also just establishing a line of communication with the consumer so that the consumer values that person or that brand, that small brand, and sort of knows more about them so that they feel like there's a larger sort of value chain there that they can, plug into.
So do you have men playing your game, or you plan to get more men to play? Because the retailers obviously want all genders.
Yes, so we do. About 5% of our audience is male. And some of our biggest and most, what's a nice way to say it, most vocal users are male. But right now, all the clothes are for women, and the mannequin that you're dressing is a female's body. So we are interested in men's fashion, but
what's the big hurdle?
I think the biggest thing is women's fashion has a lot more variety in terms of all the different outfits. So within the app, we work with the seasons, and we drop about 4,000 to 5,000 garments every single season. And they all need to be, like, we don't want 20 pairs of black skinny jeans.
Right.
So we need a lot of diversity in the product. So.
All right. I think socks might be it. I saw so many great socks today, by the way. We have about 2 minutes for questions, and we have mics. Any questions?
No. I have a question.
Oh, okay.
If we have the room. So, like I think we mentioned already today, the buy button has made a huge, splash, I guess you could say, in the past month. But you guys have been, doing that for a while. I think you mentioned the incentives with the in-game currency. You can click to buy right from your game on the brand's website. So what do you think now that Instagram, Pinterest, how are you guys going to compete? Now that these platforms are adopting the buy button?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's great that Pinterest is doing it, and obviously it will open up a larger channel for potential revenue for them. Obviously, moving into the ad space, and then they would want to, be able to prove the value. For us, I mean, it's good as well. It definitely doesn't hurt to get more users sort of accustomed to the idea of whenever you're seeing content, you can buy it. I think what's hard is we've stayed away from the affiliate revenue model space just because we've sort of taken the stance of, like, our brands are our partners in terms of we're bringing this content and entertainment to our consumers together with our brands, and so we don't want to cut into their bottom line. And I think for a lot of companies out there, relying on ad and affiliate revenue is a tough space to be in sometimes.
Definitely. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
I think there's a mic coming at you.
A question on your competition. Who's your biggest competition? And then in terms of business threats, what are your biggest business threats with the cutting edge situation? How do you stay ahead?
Right. So competition is an interesting thing to think about. If you put it at the highest level of where else are users spending time, it would be Pinterest. Pinterest is the number one app that our users have other than Covet on their phones. So that's really important for us to figure out how do we differentiate between Pinterest, because we're not going to overtake Pinterest, but how do we complement, but then also provide something that's really unique to Pinterest. If you look at it from the gaming side, there's actually not much within gaming. I mean, you can look at Kim Kardashian's game as a competition of just another source of entertainment. There aren't other games out there that have real fashion brands or real merchandise that allow consumers to play around with it and compete over that style. So I think, it's a new space, and that's also why it's difficult and a challenge for us, is because we're introducing a new platform to brands and fashion brands that have even been slow to adopt e-commerce. So to get them up to speed on gaming is another challenge.
And what's one of your biggest business threats right now?
Biggest business threat would be someone copying us and acquiring users faster than we do.
All right, great. I think we're out of time, unfortunately. But thank you, Blair, and thanks, Shereen.
Thanks.
Okay. We are almost at the end.